Let us pray. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, we thank you for the gift of this beautiful commencement day. Gathered here in the college quadrangle, we assume a posture of thanksgiving and celebration. We give thanks for the founders and the continuing benefactors of this institution. We are thankful for trustees who work to make Bloomfield College a place of excellence. We are grateful for the presence and leadership of President Noonan. We are thankful for all faculty who have shared their knowledge and guidance. We are most appreciative of staff and administration who keep this college operating. As members of the class of '88, we celebrate our parents and other family members who have supported us along the way. We celebrate our friends who have given words of encouragement. We celebrate our passage from our beginning here to this moment of graduation. Gracious God, we thank you for your sustaining spirit, and we ask for your guidance as we go forth from this place. Be present now in this moment. Amen.
Dr. Noonan, honored guests, class of 1988, parents, family, friends, faculty and trustees. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I welcome you to this, the 115th Annual Bloomfield College.
Moore Craig, dynamic chairman of the board of Bloomfield College, respected attorney, admired community leader, today Bloomfield College affectionately honors you for your dedicated stewardship of this institution for more than a decade. Reared in the tree-shaded neighborhoods of Montclair, you went on to complete a bachelor's degree at Wesleyan College. You returned to your native New Jersey to earn a Doctor of Laws degree from Rutgers University School of Law, where your acumen and dedication to the law were reflected in your appointment as editor of the school's Law Review. You balanced the hard work of building a law practice as a labor attorney with devotion to volunteer service to community organizations of all kinds. You serve as a model for the area's Boy Scouts, molding young minds in the virtues of honesty, hard work, fairness, and leadership. The National Council on Alcoholism of the New Jersey area honored your service as president by awarding you the Paul Gallion Award for outstanding service and leadership. Your trusteeship is admired and respected by your colleagues and the community as you continue to educate the public about the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse. Dedicating long days to your clients' needs, you add longer hours to pro bono family counseling through the Essex County courts. Cynthia, Diane, and David give your life purpose and meaning. From nursing sniffles to sailing, you continue to plant the values of love and compassion as a friend and father. In 1975, Bloomfield College faced organizational and fiscal challenges which threatened our existence. When it asked those with good hearts and clear minds and visionary ideals to accept positions as trustees, you answered the college's call for help. For 13 years as a member of the Board of Trustees of Bloomfield College, you have never forgotten the importance of education as the foundation of a more enlightened, loving, and just society. You have not flinched in making difficult decisions about the college. And as the years went on, you saw your labors come to fruition as the institution flourished, its population underwent a resurgency, and the curriculum responded to new and different needs. During your term as board chairman, you exhibited the constancy, dedication, and affection which the college required to meet its challenges. Now that your term is complete, we want to express the deep appreciation of our students, faculty, staff, alumni, and Board of Trustees to you for guiding the college with integrity as a trustee and board chairman, for unselfishly serving your community as a volunteer, for exemplifying the best of legal practices in your profession, all of which have enriched our lives. Bloomfield College confers upon you the degree of Doctor of Education, honoris causa, with all the rights, responsibilities, and privileges thereunto appertaining, and we now count you among our most distinguished alumni. Welcome. Thank you.
I thank you. There's something strange and wonderful when you receive recognition for doing something you've enjoyed. And I have truly enjoyed being at Bloomfield College and working with all of the elements of Bloomfield College. I think what may be overlooked in all those kind words, however, is the fact that it is really a testament to all of the Board of Trustees. We're here because we believe. We give our talent, our time, our treasure because we believe. We believe in what Bloomfield is doing. We believe in the mission of the college. For the past 2+ years, we've had the sometimes difficult, sometimes joyous search for a new president. And we've been so fortunate in being able to call to Bloomfield. Bloomfield's an exciting place. It will be even more exciting under their leadership. And I thank you for this honor.
Mr. President, the Board of Trustees of Bloomfield College authorizes you to confer the honorary degree of Doctor of Education to Deborah Partridge Wolf in recognition of notable achievements. I present to you Deborah Partridge Wolf.
Thank you, Dr. Cohen. Deborah Partridge Wolf. Today we celebrate your accomplishments as an educator dedicated to providing every person with access to learning, and as a religious leader deeply committed to Christian principles. Professor Emerita of Queens College, you are an internationally renowned educator and administrator, a cogent and compelling scholar who has written scores of articles examining a wide cross-section of social issues, and a leading activist in the advancement of civil rights and women's rights. A graduate of Jersey City State College, you earned master's and doctoral degrees in education from Columbia University and later completed postdoctoral study in both education and theology. Thus, you began a journey that would lead to every level of classroom teaching, from kindergarten through graduate school, to each of our 50 states and on 6 continents, to prominent positions on national boards, commissions, and learned societies, to the highest echelons of policymaking in Washington, and always back home again to the state you have served with distinction. Carving a legacy of achievement, you became the first black woman to hold most of your important positions in both the public and private sectors of education. Following the lead of your father, who was a minister, both parents, in fact, held degrees in theology. You became in 1970 the first black woman ordained to the American Baptist Church, and later the first to serve as theologian in residence at Duke University, and as permanent representative to the United Nations for Church Women United. You have served since 1975 as associate minister of the First Baptist Church of Cranford, New Jersey. Indeed, throughout your full and varied career, you have devoted your energy and expertise to New Jersey, serving on the State Board of Higher Education, the Coordinating Council on Education, and as chair of the Joint Vocational Education Committee. Your unique qualifications resulted in your election in 1987 as chairwoman of the prestigious New Jersey Board of Higher Education, on which you have served for 2 decades, initially as one of its founding members. Bloomfield College and the other independent colleges, Dr. Wolf, are very grateful for your dedication. For a life of noble principles and splendid achievement, for pushing beyond parochialism whose borders restrict our quest for knowledge, for combating prejudice whose barriers limit our opportunities, and for serving as an extraordinary role model for all Americans, demonstrating the impact one person with courage and conviction can have on a generation, Bloomfield College hereby confers on Deborah Partridge Wolf the degree of Doctor of Education causa, with all the rights, responsibilities, and privileges thereunto appertaining.
Thank you so much, President Noonan, and the trustees, and all who are responsible for giving me this honor today. I am very happy to be included in the class of 1988, for it means for me that I have a chance to begin all over. And that's what commencement truly is. And as you look at me, you may think that I'm standing here receiving this honor for myself. But I want you to see standing with me the entire Board of Higher Education, which I represent. And as I accept this honor, I accept it for all of my colleagues. And I think that you're giving it to us because you have seen the strides that the New Jersey colleges and universities have made over the past 20 years, in which I have served on the Board of Higher Education and have watched this whole department and board grow during its entire existence. We have been emphasizing and continue to emphasize, as we celebrate this 20th year, equity and excellence. And I want to congratulate Bloomfield College for its great emphasis upon equity. You have indeed demonstrated your commitment to this through the unusual acceptance that you have given to all of the citizens of our state. You have the unique distinction of being the institution which has the highest percentage of minority students in its enrollment. And I think that you share with me that we must indeed continue to both emphasize both excellence and equity, for both are essential to a high degree of excellence in our higher education. For excellence cannot exist in a democracy without equity. And equity without excellence is just another word for mediocrity. For the past year, the Board of Higher Education and our colleges and universities throughout this state have sponsored workshops, lectures, performances, and conferences as we have celebrated our 20th year. One of the most important of those conferences was concentrated upon the development and improvement of human relations. And again, I take my hat off to you at Bloomfield College, because you recognize, as I do, that in the most multi-pluralistic society that mankind has ever known, we indeed must, as the institutions of higher learning, demonstrate our deep belief that we are what we are because of the multi-pluralism which we represent. And as you continue to celebrate this year and every other year, I hope that we will continue to recognize the uniqueness of this great American democracy, which I love, a nation of all the people. And so in honoring me as an educator, you also honor those who have worked with me, with the Board of Higher Education, in fostering a climate that has encouraged the growth and the development of higher education through New Jersey. Fellow members of the board, past and present, the 4 governors, and I am happy to tell you that I have been appointed to the board by 4 governors. Governor Hughes originally appointed me. I was reappointed by Governor Cahill, and again by Governor Brendan Byrne, and now by our current Governor Tom Kean. 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. You cannot tell what I am, nor indeed what the board is. And that's the way it should be, for education is bipartisan, nonpartisan, apartisan. For in a democracy, education is indeed the keystone to the arch of freedom. And I want to thank you for joining all the institutions in higher learning in this state in recognizing the importance of higher education for all the people if we're going to keep America free. And I want to thank you for the support you've given as you've asked the legislators to support higher education financially as well as philosophically. And I would ask that you continue to do that. And so as I accept this honor, I say, for all those people who have worked with me in spirit, and I thank you for your concern and interest in developing education in the best state of the United States, my state and yours. Thank you so much.
Mr. President, the Board of Trustees of Bloomfield College authorizes you to confer the honorary degree of Doctor of Divinity to Ernest S. Light in recognition of notable achievements.
Reverend Ernest S. Light, pastor, member of the Methodist clergy, thoughtful man of learning, ardent and articulate champion of the poor and the displaced, minister to those in need, community leader and author, today Bloomfield College recognizes your long and commendable service to the people of New Jersey and to the struggle for human liberty, equality, and dignity. A cum laude graduate of Morgan State University, you earned a master's degree in divinity from Drew University. You continued your postgraduate studies, receiving both a master's degree of theology and a doctor of ministry from Princeton University. You have championed the deprived and the displaced. You have worked tirelessly to strengthen our families and our communities. You are deeply committed to fulfilling the challenges issued a quarter century ago by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he asked us all to make real the promise of democracy. Since your ordination in 1968 and your appointment to the St. Mary's Street Union Parish in Burlington, you have combined pastoral service to your congregation with involvement in their aspirations and day-to-day problems. Since moving to northern New Jersey in 1979 as pastor of St. Mark's United Methodist Church in Montclair, your work continues to leave an indelible mark on our lives and our institutions. As a trustee of Drew University and the Montclair YWCA, through government agencies and private organizations like the NAACP, you've become one of the leading forces working to improve the human condition. Your publications, among them Path of Freedom and the Gift of Love, have helped us better understand the role religion and politics play in our society and the special contributions Black Americans have made to our history and our culture. For your ministering with compassion to the spiritual needs of congregations for more than 20 years, for your thoughtful ideas and vision, for your long and commendable service to the people of New Jersey and to their struggle for human liberty, equality, and dignity, for exemplifying our nation's highest ideals of brotherhood and community concern, Bloomfield College hereby confers upon the Reverend Ernest S. Light the degree of Doctor of Divinity honoris causa with all the rights, responsibilities, and privileges thereunto appertaining.
President Noonan, members of the Board of Trustees, members of the Bloomfield College family, I simply want to say thank you for the opportunity to share in this event, and thank you for this honor.
Mr. President, the Board of Trustees of Bloomfield College authorizes you to confer the honorary degree of Doctor of Arts to Olympia Dukakis in recognition of notable achievements.
Olympia Dukakis, actress, Academy Award winner, theater founder, and master teacher. Today, Bloomfield College applauds your contributions to the performing arts in New Jersey and the nation as the bold, creative, and dynamic leading lady of the American theater. Your own higher education includes a bachelor's and 2 master's degrees from Boston University. Continuing your involvement with higher education since 1972, you have served as a master teacher in acting at New York University, sharing your thespian skills and experiences with hundreds of aspiring actors. Through more than 100 roles on stage and screen, drawn from classical and contemporary literature, you have deepened our knowledge of human nature by illuminating the choices that shape our lives. You have earned 2 Obie Awards for your performances in off-Broadway theater and have appeared in dozens of highly acclaimed productions on and off Broadway, as well as in movies and television. In the past year, you earned international acclaim, along with an Academy Award and Oscar, for your unforgettable portrayal of Rose Castorini, the unsentimental and utterly specific mother in the wonderful film Moonstruck. As important as these achievements are to legions of your fans all over the world, we intend today to acknowledge your role as founder, as artistic and producing director, and as resident visionary and conscience of the whole theater company, one of the most important regional theaters in the country. Since 1973, the whole theater has enriched the lives of the thousands of theatergoers in the metropolitan region who come regularly to Montclair, New Jersey to see the best productions done anywhere. We also wish to acknowledge the strength of your educational commitment in fostering the whole theater's extensive outreach programs, through which thousands of students in Essex County and throughout the state come to feel the empowering impacts of theater in their own lives. For this richness, too, all of us are deeply grateful. Who is more qualified to teach these lessons than a Greek? In your affirmation of human dignity, in your passion and courage, in your insistence that theater be regarded as an essential part of our lives and not as a luxury, in your clear thinking, you remind us of other Greeks from whom we have learned. For helping us see the human spirit in all of its variety and fullness, Bloomfield College hereby confers upon you the degree of Doctor of Arts honoris causa, with all the rights, responsibilities, and privileges thereunto appertaining. Such a lovely
I'm about to embark on something really dangerous. I'm going to talk about art. I don't know that you can talk about art and not sound pretentious. I'm going to do my best. My daughter told me to be honest, and my son told me to be brief. So I'm going to try to do both. This is indeed an honor. As a first-generation Greek, education was the most important thing in my family. My father used to walk down the streets holding my hand. We'd go by schools and he'd say, "Why are these buildings open? The Greeks need them to be open. How else will they understand how they can attain the dream that is inherent in our country?" For my father today, this would be a fulfillment of his dream. I'm deeply honored and grateful to you for this award. Chairman Craig, Board of Trustees, President Noonan, honored guests, faculty class of 1988, family and friends, something wonderful is beginning to happen here at Bloomfield College. There is a belief that the human spirit must be, can be, nourished and sustained through the arts, that our need to make, experience, and comprehend art is as profound as our need to speak, that because its social aspects come from the need to share, from our natures as gregarious and empathizing human beings, art brings together rather than separates, that the arts can serve to insert meaning and beauty into our lives, that this meaning and beauty can be touched simply and directly by all. And finally, that art is a way of knowing reality, that we want to know. It gives us pleasure. It gives us power, the power to reconstruct and to heal. We are all channels. We are all open to hear our own hearts. From the deep well of our own human experiences, the artist in us brings up the cool, clear waters of love, knowledge, of wisdom to give to the rest of our human community. In our culture, it is thought that the rational sensibility must lead and the artistic must follow. suspected always of irrationality. Dr. Noonan, I believe, wishes to reverse this misconception, to infuse into the educational experience the soul, energy, spontaneity, and love of life, to give the arts the opportunity to do what they are uniquely suited to do, to inspire us to understand ourselves and our potential as individuals and as a people. With awareness, we give ourselves the gift of growth and change. As we probe deeper into who we are with our lightness and our confusion, with our angers, our longings and distortions, we will find the artist. And then we will say, I have known you all my life, and I have called you by many different names. I have called you mother and father and child. I have called you lover. I have called you my heart. But I never until this moment called you myself. Graduates of the class of 1988, in the words of a poet, Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead, fare and be well now. Let your life proceed by its own design. Nothing more to tell now. Let the words be yours. I am done with mine. Thank you.
Dr. Chairman, members of the Board of Trustees, members of the faculty, Vice Chancellor White, Mayor Kreco, honored guests, distinguished graduates, members of your family and your friends. I have two versions of this talk that I could give. One is about 45 minutes long, and one is about 10 minutes long. I will begin my first commencement address by making the wise decision to give you the 10-minute version. 10 months ago, when I assumed the presidency of Bloomfield College, I asked the trustees and the faculty to sharpen the focus of the institution by adding an important new statement to the mission. Bloomfield College is committed to preparing students to function effectively in a multiracial, multicultural society. Because you're leaving the college just as we're beginning to gear up for this new goal, I want you to know the steps we've already taken, because we've made important beginnings. This spring, we initiated a Visiting Scholars and Artists program, making special efforts to recruit artists who are members of minorities. Gus Edwards, the first playwright in residence, is the most often produced playwright of the Negro Ensemble Company in New York City. Next year, the Cuban painter Alejandro Anreyes will join the faculty as artist in residence. And I'm happy to announce for the first time today that TV journalist Denise Richardson will be joining us in the fall as visiting artist, working with students who are seeking careers in communications. The faculty are busy working on revisions in general education and in the majors that will make our curriculum better suited to the new emphasis of the college. At their last meeting, the trustees of the college demonstrated their faith in this new mission by authorizing me to begin the long-promised renovation of Westminster Theater, with the goal of creating one of the best theaters in the state of New Jersey. The Westminster Theater and Art Gallery will soon become important centers in the new Bloomfield College by giving us the space we need to make the arts a vital part of the education of all students. Through poetry, through dramatic performance, through dance, through painting and sculpture, through music, we intend to show that what we gain by embracing racial and cultural differences is more truth, more beauty, and more meaning in our lives. You are the first class of students to graduate since the mission of the college was focused this way, And even though you were here only in the very beginning, we expect much of you. First, I hope you'll make the college's new mission a central theme in your life, an obligation you assume in exchange for attending one of the most racially diverse private colleges in the United States. I believe that a college where half the students are so-called minority students is an excellent preparation for living in the real world, because the world itself is multiracial and multicultural. As graduates of the college, you are re-entering a world that needs much attention. In spite of progress made over the last 25 years, the Commission on Minority Participation in Education and American Life reported this week that America is moving backward, not forward, with its efforts to achieve the full participation of minority citizens in the life and prosperity of the nation. Consider this statistic. In 1986, 31% of blacks and 27% of Hispanics were living in poverty. That's nearly 3 times the rate for whites. I urge you not to duck these facts when some people you meet may be annoyed when you bring them up. It's never easy to improve the world. Bloomfield College graduates, more than graduates of other colleges, are obligated to work to correct this picture of inequality. Second, I urge that you be affected, deeply and profoundly affected, by the differences in points of view you will find all around you as this society becomes even more diverse. Our refocused mission not only urges you to ask how you can improve the lives of others, it urges you to consider how association with others can improve your life, how you can learn from their point of view, from their experience. Too little attention has been paid to this aspect of multiculturalism. Let me explain what I mean by reading a passage from one of the great poets of our day, the Nobel Prize-winning Polish poet Milosz. He's talking here about poetry itself, but I want you to listen to it as a way of thinking about learning in general. The purpose of poetry, he writes, is to remind us how difficult it is to remain just one person. For our house is open, there are no keys in the doors, and invisible guests come in and out at will. Cultural narrow-mindedness is a state maintained by people who attempt to close their house, who attempt to bar the invisible guests who are always present in the life of an open person. An open person learns by respecting how others look at the world, how they formulate problems, how they develop solutions. Cultural factors exert a pronounced influence on how we make sense of the world, and a person intent on leading a serious life must not only be open to the assumptions of other groups, but should be eager to explore those assumptions as a way of enriching his or her own thinking. When we listen to the music and read the poetry, see the plays, understand the political and economic assumptions of people from backgrounds different from our own, we expose ourselves to learning from them, to being changed by our association with their thinking, to becoming more than just one person. The paradox, of course, is that the more open to others we are, the more fully ourselves we become. The national climate lately has not fostered this kind of learning. The Secretary of Education, for example, instead of pointing approvingly at Stanford's recent decision to add books by women, minorities, and persons of color to the reading list in the required civilization courses, criticizes the revision as politically inspired, one that dilutes the quality of the curriculum. The Secretary's criticism notwithstanding, Bloomfield College was proud this spring to be joined by Stanford University in the effort to prepare students to function effectively in a multiracial, multicultural society. When we adopt an open stance toward the perspective of others, we also run the risk of becoming upset by what we see and hear. At another point in the poem by Milosz, he uses a metaphor that captures the danger of learning something new. A thing is brought forth which we didn't know we had in us, he writes, so we blink our eyes as if a tiger had sprung out and stood in the light, lashing its tail. Some ideas seem at first to be tigers because they disturb us by questioning our assumptions or by distorting what we thought was a clear explanation. I believe that cross-cultural learning can make the tiger seem even more ferocious. The challenge is to avoid running for cover or picking up a stick to throw, at least long enough to be certain that what is frightening us isn't simply a new idea or a new view of a problem. We expect Bloomfield College graduates to be able to tell new ideas from a tiger, even when everyone around you is reaching for a stick or climbing a tree. Several years ago, when I lived in Richmond, Virginia, one of my best friends was a glassblower. His name was Kent Ibsen. And when I met Mr. Ibsen, he was at a point in his career where he was beginning to move from blowing glass objects about this size to trying to find out what else he could do with the glass. He wanted to do things with the glass that no one had ever done before. And so he made with his own hands these enormous ovens within which he cooled large masses of glass. The trouble was that every piece of the glass he tried to cool would crack. And for years he tried to find a solution to keep those large pieces of glass, about the size of this podium, from breaking when he brought them out of the oven. One day he told me he thought he had figured out the solution, and he asked me to come over to his studio as he poured a new casting. I can still see him ladling the molten glass into that oven that he had made. It looked for all the world like a small ocean to me. And then he closed the lid and he said, "I think what I need to do is to cool this for 30 days. Every day for 30 days, I went to his studio, and he'd lift up a corner of the lid of this cooling oven, and he'd let me look at the glass that he was attempting to cool without breaking it. And every day I'd see in there the colors in the glass smoldering. It looked like an aquarium, and the colors in it looked like fish on fire. It was an absolutely magnificent sight, but I could only look at it for a moment because he had to close it quickly. At the end of the 30th day, I went to his studio, and he said, "I think I'm ready. I think I've got the problem solved." And he threw back the lid of the oven. I can still hear the hinge squeak. It went right through me. And there, running all the way across that piece of glass, was a crack as deep as the Grand Canyon. I looked at that crack, and my heart wanted to break. He looked at that crack, and he said, "Would you look at the colors in the edge of that crack? I've never seen such blues and reds. I wonder what I could do if I could learn to crack these things on purpose." What he told me in that moment was something about the paradox of disappointment and the paradox of failure, because embedded in that moment where my heart wanted to break was the opportunity to learn an insight from this great man, that even in our disappointments, even in our failures, there are opportunities to see new colors and new shapes in the glass. I tell you that this moment at the conclusion of my first commencement address, because the challenge that I've made, that the trustees have made in refocusing the mission of this institution is in some senses a very daunting challenge. And there are going to be times when we experience disappointment in the same way that you will experience disappointment in your own lives. And I wanted to leave you with a way of looking at those moments which are inevitable in a full, rich, and serious life, and hope that you, like my colleague, the glass artist, can learn to get down and look very close at those cracks in the glass and find the new colors and the new meanings in your life. Thank you.
Mr. President, I am honored to present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts in Cursu as recommended by the faculty.
Yes. Would the graduates come forward, please, after standing?
Arts.
Do I confer it now? By virtue of the authority invested me by the Board of Trustees of Bloomfield College, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts, with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Mr. President, I am honored to present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Cursu as recommended by the faculty.
By virtue of the authority invested in me by the Board of Trustees of Bloomfield College, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science, with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Stephanie Brown. Tawana Sharon Campbell. Jeannie Patricia Coffey cum laude. James N. DeBassi. Linda Gilstrap Dolly. Colin McDonald Edmondson. Regina Gale Everett. Virginia de la Cardinal Franco. Magdali F. Frederic.
Over here, over here.
Pamela Ann Frito. Lisa J. Gordon cum laude. Neva Cheryl Guthrie. Donna Yvette Hardney. Rogelio Hernandez Jr. Sharon Rose Hobbs. Ansara Bakiera Adine. Grace Chayika Ifurika. Patrick Thomas Kiernan. Tyrene Charisse Martin. No. Oh. Michelle Ann Lewandowski. Sorry about that, Michelle. Okay. Tyrene Charisse Martin. Nancy Ann McShane, cum laude. Eileen Ellen Moore. Rosanda Moore. Barbara Moore Jordan. Linda Pinero. Mildred L. Platt. Angela Marie Scelfo. Gerard Vincent Singerline. Over here. Pearl Burke Smith. Donald Leonard Strobel. Sanka Patrice Thompson. Michelle Torciello. Keith John Whiteside. Faith Angela Williams. Pamela Renee Jackson Williams. Sharon K. Williams. Tracy Woodall. Keith Ernest Andriata. Ronald Bogerman, magna cum laude. Timothy Gregory Bonner. Don Renee Brockup.
Congratulations, Don.
Carol Janet Buford.
Okay.
Carol Burek, cum laude. Jeannie Augusta Butterly. Trina Lynn Carson. Joseph D. Chandra. Daniel Charles. Maureen Regina Chauncey.
Not going too fast. Oh, yeah.
Anthony Carnaccia. Kim Renee Cox. Howard Jude Davids. Darlene Antoinette Denmark.
Oh.
Joette M. DeMeo. Cachetta Donatiella Scalisi cum laude. Teresa E. Dormansky. Juan A. Icarcion. Aparito Carmen Irazo. Carmine Joseph Festa.
Oh, see, you finally made it, Carmen. Good for you.
Donna Ann Fisher. Mark Fisher. Diane Marie French cum laude. Josephine Lustra Garcia.
Garcon.
Marianne Garcon. Salamawit Gelegay. Sharon Yvonne Grayson.
We got a cheering crowd. Not.
Karen Sue Greenwood. Mark Allen Heckman. Elaine H. Hudak, magna cum laude. John W. Hutchins. Dory Jordan. Suzanne Gale Kurt.
Yeah.
Mei Chao Huang Ku. Eduardo Lara. Christopher Joseph Libro. Lisa Susan Lubeck, cum laude. Martha D. Matt, cum laude. Gloria Brown Matthews. Peter Philip Maturi. Susan Gale McManus, cum laude. Denise Miles. Christine Denise Mitchell. Deborah May Mitchell.
Just a few fans there. Congratulations.
There she comes.
Florence Louisa Moss, cum laude. Wendy Elizabeth Mount. Charles Henry Nanke.
Okay.
Suzanne Kemmerer Newmark. Christopher Michael Novello. Hey!
Get over here.
Listen, it's been real nice. Thanks a lot.
What?
See you next year.
Won't be the same, Chris.
Oh, here she is.
Kunowitz, cum
That's all right. Okay.
Tarawadi Dadi Prasad.
Did I get that right?
Mary Lou Schmidt, summa cum laude. Jim McKinnon Serrano. Bernice Shabazz. Dolores Sherrod.
You get your picture taken? Right.
Michael John Schlala, magna cum laude.
Ciano.
Janet Ciano. Regina Smargiazzi.
Finally.
Barrington Benjamin Smith. Roger Stevens. Geneva Studem. Rupert Walker. Janice Moniz Williams. Cara Marisa Winslow.
What a crowd, huh? Yes, indeed.
Carol Ann Zatorsky. Will everybody stand and give the class of '88 a rousing applause?
In October for your first homecoming. My best wishes to each and every one of you as you pursue your careers.